Good evening, everyone. We'll be getting our meeting in a few moments. There is a link in the chat room for you to register and submit any questions as well. In order to facilitate the meeting in Spanish and English, you will now hear from our interpreter for the evening.
Thank you. Buenas tardes. En unos momentos vamos a empezar la interpretación al español. Si desea escuchar esta presentación en español, pueden pasar a la parte baja de su pantalla y seleccionar la opción en español en la parte inferior derecha de la pantalla, donde se ubica el mundo. Si por algún motivo no escucha al intérprete, regresa al inglés y vuelva a intentar la opción en español. Si aún no funciona, a favor de avisarnos por el chat. Gracias. All right, Ms. Bell, you may turn on the interpreter feature.
Good evening. Welcome to the community meeting discussion about zoning for the Dallas ISD Career Institute North. Thank you for taking time to be here for this presentation. I am Jean Laswell, the Senior Site Administrator and Principal for Career Institute North. Tonight, we will review information about the new facility, its purpose and design, followed by a question and answer session at the end. At this time, I'd like to introduce Dallas ISD District 1 Trustee Edwin Flores.
Thank you, Jean, and good evening, everyone. I'm very excited about the presentation tonight and the opportunity to share about Career Institute North. I'm very excited for this reason. I've been a school board trustee for over 12 years now, and I can say without any hesitation or reservation that every time I've had a community meeting, and I'm talking about 100% of the time, homeowners associations, it doesn't matter. Every single time I've been out, I'm approached and asked, what happened to the trades? Why aren't you guys teaching the trades? Why are you overemphasizing college? And I heard that loud and clear, and I think our students and our administration, everybody heard that loud and clear. And so this is our opportunity to do that and to bring those trades. But the trades of today aren't like the trades of yesterday. These are very high tech, require a lot of high tech equipment, require very close coordination with higher education, because there will be some higher education required for these certifications that these students need. And also with employers. We need to have that pipeline of employees to the employers, and we need to know what the employers need and the certifications that their new employees will have to be able to fulfill their duties. And so this is our answer to that. This is our opportunity. We're very excited about this. We're opening 4 of these career institutes, and you'll hear during the presentation. And I'm particularly proud of these because in some way these were my idea. And it was something that I've been pushing since I came back on the board in 2015. And so I'm very excited about this presentation. So I'll shut up and let the people who really know what's going on tell you about Career Institute North. Thank you very much. And I also want to thank the taxpayers for approving, and the voters for approving the 2020 bond, which make this all possible. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Jean. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Flores. I'd also like you to know that tonight, Margot Murphy, Chair of the City Planning Commission, is with us, along with Dallas ISD Teaching and Learning Assistant Superintendent of STEM, CTE, and Career Institutes, Oswaldo Alvarenga. And we have Deputy Chief Tiffany Hewitt and Chief Academic Officer Shannon Trejo. Ms. Trejo?
Thank you so much, Jean. Just want to thank Trustee Flores so much for the opportunity to share these exciting plans with the community. Want to reiterate our thanks to the taxpayers for passing the bond and making this a reality. We're so excited about the opportunity to have our students gain credentials in areas that are real world, marketable skills that allow them to step out of high school into careers that allow them to make a livable wage, help their families be in the communities that they love, and function at a really, really high level. So thank you to everyone for attending tonight. We're excited to share the presentation and can't wait to watch the success of the Career Institute North.
Thank you, Chief Trejo. Next slide, please. Dallas ISD has planned 4 career institutes to serve students, one in each of the 4 quadrants of the district: North, South, East, and West. Career Institute North opened in August of 2019 and is currently housed in a temporary location, a 70,000 square foot warehouse where we serve 5 Dallas ISD high school campuses: Conrad High School, Hillcrest High School, North Dallas High School, Thomas Jefferson High School, and W.T. White High School. We currently serve over 500 freshmen and sophomores, but will outgrow our first facility within 2 years. In 4 years, the facility will serve 3,200 students, but only 800 will be at the facility at any one time, since students will be scheduled over 4 different time periods on the A-Day, B-Day schedule. Next slide, please. Students travel to our facility by school bus from their home campus. We do not allow students to drive themselves. Our current facility is located in Farmers Branch and does not meet our travel time needs. With career and technical education classes, like those offered at the Career Institutes, we must provide for instruction 45 minutes a day or 90 minutes every other day on the AB day schedule in order to meet the Texas Education Agency requirements to receive additional funding which supports these classes. To meet that instructional minute requirement, the travel time to our facility must be within a 20-minute drive of all the campuses we serve. Our current facility is much too far north for several of our campuses, but this new site meets the 20-minute requirement, as you can see on the map here. Next slide, please. The purpose of the Career Institutes is to provide Dallas students with opportunity to learn about a career field of their interest and earn industry-recognized certifications that will lead to post-secondary programs in the field and/or lead to employment in high-demand, high-wage jobs right out of high school. Students participate in 4 or more courses in each career pathway, earning 1 or more certifications each year. In their junior and or senior year, students participate in internships or apprenticeships with our industry partners. Then, after graduation, have opportunities to gain full or part-time employment and move on to further their skills at Dallas College or another post-secondary institution. This evening, we are pleased to have 2 representatives from Dallas College with us: Lakeisha Foster, Manager of Educational Partnerships, and the Associate Vice Chancellor, Karen Stills.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Ms. Laswell, and thank you, Trustee Flores, for the opportunity to come and talk about this exciting partnership. Dallas College has partnered with DISD on dual credit, early college, high school, and PTEX, serving over 15,000 DISD students just this past fall. The Career Institute graduates will have pathways to certificates and degrees, as well as meaningful employment. Pathways for current students are being planned to ensure that the Career Institute graduates can enter both the labor market and continue their education to qualify them for higher level positions. When completed and fully implemented, we anticipate over 20,000 DISD graduates will have participated in the 4 Career Institutes. And the structured post-high school CTE certificates and degree pathways to Dallas College will be supported through other initiatives like Dallas County Promise and financial aid. We are immensely excited for this partnership and look forward to serving the community and providing opportunities for students to enter into these meaningful careers and create the choice for the life that they want to live. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we look forward to continuing our work with Dallas College and to help students access their post-secondary learning opportunities. Each day, students arrive at their home high school campus, then travel by bus to our location where they attend 2 90-minute career-based classes, then have lunch in our cafeteria and board the bus to return to their home campus for the remainder of their schedule and their after-school activities. Students come either in the morning or the afternoon session each day. Next slide, please. Let's review the career pathways that we offer. Okay, we're going to skip a few slides here to the career pathways slide, if you don't mind. There we go. Thank you. Let's review the career pathways that we offer. In the construction area, we currently offer architecture, interior design, carpentry, electrical and solar technology, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning technology, and plumbing technology. We also currently offer aviation flight, cybersecurity and software development, and mechatronics, also known as industrial robotics. In the new facility, we will prepare frontline healthcare workers through pathways such as patient care technician, EKG technician, phlebotomy technician, and emergency medical technician. Other pathways that will be added include firefighting, automotive technology, and welding. Okay, now if we could go back to that district partner slide, I appreciate it. There you go. We have already secured partnerships with more than 40 businesses to support career institutes, and our district CTE program has over 200 business partners to assist the career institutes. The Dallas business community has been extremely supportive, and we receive new requests for partnerships every week. This evening, we have planned for one of our cybersecurity program mentors to be with us, but I'm not sure he was able to. Mr. Smeaton online? Okay, so I think we might have had a conflict with this evening's presentation, but we're going to go ahead and play a video now, if we could, of one of our students from cybersecurity. This is Janet Rivas.
Hi, my name is Janet Rivas. I'm a student at Thomas Jefferson High School, but I'm also a student at Career Institute North. I'm taking cybersecurity, and that is my pathway. That is a technical career that I'm taking in high school. What I like the most about my pathway is the job opportunities, because now everything is online, everything is technology, and every company needs that cybersecurity expert to take care of that. Okay, in the morning, I'm going to my regular classes at Thomas Jefferson High School. Then I take the bus to Career Institute North, and I eat lunch, and then I'm going to my classes, that is cybersecurity and computer science. When they are done, I take the bus back, that is to my house or to Thomas Jefferson High School.
So students like Janet choose to be in the Career Institute programs. It is an open enrollment program with hands-on project-based courses that include employability skills, entrepreneurship, and financial literacy. Each course teaches the same skills needed by adults in the career field. With this rigorous coursework, students are busy from the time they arrive until they board the bus to return. They are passionate about the field of study they are pursuing, and as a result, we have not had any discipline issues on our campus. Tonight, we have one of our newest teachers with us to tell us why he chose to leave the industry to become a teacher at Career Institute North, our electrical technology instructor, Mr. Jeremy Taylor.
Good evening. I'm honored to be with you all here tonight. So I was in the industry as an electrician for the last 7.5 years, and chose to come to Career Institute North as a teacher, honestly to play a part in giving an opportunity to students. When I was in high school, I didn't have an opportunity like this, and let alone realize that these options were a possibility at that time. I have an associate's degree that I have never used, and I didn't start as an electrician until I was 32 years old, already married and had a daughter. So to have learned some of this stuff much later than in life, I feel like I'm able to pass on more than just knowledge of the electrical trade to high school students, but as well sharing my life experiences and decisions so far as they are preparing to start making those decisions themselves as young adults. And so to have an opportunity like this, Career Institute North, and the many pathways that we already offer and will continue to offer as the years go on, as Ms. Laswell said, it's something that I think is an incredible opportunity for them. And that, as we've touched on, also, it's not just to funnel them necessarily into the industry or into the field, the trade, but to open up their eyes to different options through resources, through information and knowledge and wisdom that we can give them. That maybe they decide to continue in the field, or maybe they decide, I like this experience, but it wasn't for me, and I'm going to continue through college. Or, as I've told my students, there's also a possibility to do both. You can continue in college and further your career in the industry as well, in the trades. So the opportunity to open their eyes to so many different options is what is driven me to make a decision like this. And so I know, moving forward, I'm gonna play my part as best as I can for as long as I can. And I hope that others will consider their part to play as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. We certainly appreciate your dedication to our future electricians, and thank you for joining us. Mr. Taylor is one of many of the teachers that we already employ that have come from industry to teach these students about their career fields. I know many of you may be concerned about traffic flow. We do not allow students to walk or drive to our facility, so traffic will be minimal with only our staff vehicles. We have about 50 staff members at the time that we come to the new facility. And then to further help with traffic flow, bus arrivals and departures are staggered during a 20-minute period. So they don't all arrive at once and they don't all depart at once. So arrivals happen between 9 to 9:20. Then there's a midday departure and arrival period that occurs between 12:30 and 1 o'clock. And finally, an end of day departure between 3:50 to 4:10. The design that we presented this evening has been carefully planned to preserve the original front face of the building, and additions have been coordinated to blend seamlessly. It has been designed to minimize noise levels both inside and outside the building, and the windows have been strategically placed to face away from housing. Our campus does not have any athletic programs or athletic fields, and only an occasional evening or weekend activity. The facility will be gated and closed after hours and on weekends. I want you to know that we recognize how important it is to be good stewards of this new facility. And while we will be busy developing leaders and building futures for Dallas ISD students, we will also serve as excellent members of the community. Now let's hear more about the design from WRA Architects.
Thank you, Jean. And thank you to Dallas ISD and the entire group of designers and everyone else that's worked on this project so far. It's been an undertaking, to say the least. So this project sort of began a little in a strange way. Back in October 2019, everyone knows that the tornado hit this area, and this was one of the buildings that it did was impacted by that. This is what the current site looks like. You can see the blue tarp on top, trying to keep some of the water out from that heavily damaged portion of the building. There were areas that were significantly damaged. Others, there was a lot of damage to windows, roofs, stuff you can generally see. But as a whole, the concrete structured building generally held up pretty well, and we're able to salvage probably 90% of the building. This is that area that has the blue roof tarp on top of it. We're going to rebuild the structural top on that, put a new roof on there, and then renovate the inside of it. So this is the planned future site plan. The number one is the existing entrance, which is going to stay where it is. The service yard is intended to remain in its existing location. The number 4 location is the staff parking lot. And we've got the drop-off area for the students where the number 3 is. So most of the buses and the drop-off will happen along the south side. For the park across the street. This was hit by a tornado, and the new building code requires tornado shelters in schools, among some other types of facilities. The number 5 facilities here is the Automotive Aviation Lab, and it is also going to be the storm shelter. So it's large enough to serve the entire student population and staff. This is sort of a glimpse at the floor plan, various areas of the program that Director Laszlo was talking about are kind of spread out throughout the facility. The level 2 area is kind of on the south side of the site, which faces the city park. And the only 3rd floor area faces the city park as well. And this is just an aerial image to the south, or to the bottom of the screen. This area down here is Midway, city park up here to the south. And there is a traffic light that's still not repaired yet. The city's working on that one, so that'll be up soon, hopefully. The existing facade, we tried to retrofit it and bring it back to its original character as best we could. We found some older pictures that showed some style of window that had these kind of 6 light windows and smaller mullion pattern. Trying to keep the terracotta roof panels and using that kind of color palette to blend the new additions together. This area is where the students pick up and drop off will be. It's on the south side of the site next to the park. This is sort of an entrance area from the staff parking lot. There's a internal gated courtyard that the students can use as, you know, after hours, maybe not after hours, but outdoor learning. There's a projector area that they could project onto the wall, sort of some tiered seating, which will help keep the sound inside of this area without allowing it to bleed out into the neighborhood. The security vestibule, which is in the older part of the building. Perception. This is the building that was hit by the tornado that has the blue tarp on top, the old auditorium. We're going to retrofit that into a lecture hall. This is the student lobby entrance. So most of the students will be waiting inside the building in here. They need to wait for the bus before or after they get picked up. This is where they'd come, so they wouldn't be sitting around outside. General project summary, it's about 165,000 square foot total. That includes renovations and the additions. The 3-story wing is the only part that faces the rec center. Most of the other building is a 1-story structure. And the general timeline, we are working on completing the design now. And so spring of 2021 this year, we're trying to get that wrapped up. Demolition and construction is sort of trying to get started along with that. So we do have Turner Source joint venture is on the call too. So if there's specific questions related to that, they can answer those in the Q&A. And then the estimated completion right now, we're tracking spring of 2023 to have everything all done. And this is sort of a summary of the stuff that Director Laswell already discussed. 800 max students. Students will not be driving to the campus. Tornado shelter is designed to accommodate the entire staff. And the students will be transported to and from by bus from their high school, and they will not be driving. So I guess we can open up the question.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your presentations. If you're on our call, we ask you to, if you're on the call, on the Zoom call itself, please submit any questions you may have in the chat room, or you can use the reaction button at the bottom of the screen to raise your hand so we can allow you to ask your question. If you're joining us today on Facebook, please submit your questions in the Facebook comments. And with that being said, we do have a couple of questions. First, I think Ms. Laswell, this one will go to you. The question comes from Marla H. and is, so if a child does not arrive on a bus, will they not be allowed into the school? And how do you prevent kids from being dropped off or walking to the campus?
We work very well with our principals and assistant principals on the home campuses to communicate with students initially when they start the program, what the expectations are. We've only had someone try to drive once. So in that instance, the student was told that they could not drive to the campus and they had to take their car back to their home campus and park it and take a bus back to a late bus back to our facility, or attend class online at their facility. for that period of time until the next day. So we are very strict about the bus rule and requirement. Also for safety, we will not be allowing students to walk through the neighborhood to come to visit us as well. So again, they board the bus at their home campus. They come to us. There's one entrance that they come through for the buses. There's one entrance that they leave through for the buses. It's working really, really well at our current facility, and we don't expect it to be any different at the new facility.
Great. And we do have another question from our Facebook audience from Amanda Y. She's expressing a concern about the surrounding community about more teenagers being bused into a neighborhood that already has several schools. And she's concerned about daytime truancy, which has already become an issue. Yeah, I don't know who may be able to address that issue. I think you already covered it, but maybe you want to go into it a little bit more detail.
Yes, I'll be happy to. The students who come to our program want to be at our program because they get to actually do hands-on projects related to something they're interested in. It's their favorite part of the day. They want to be there. So we have not had any, people leaving campus or skipping campus. That just doesn't happen at our particular facility. So we're very, very fortunate that students want to be there. As you heard from Mr. Taylor, students are very interested in the program, and our instructors make it interesting for them. So this is it would be very unusual for a student not to want to be at our facility. But we'll work with our discipline system, in the event that should happen.
Great. We have another question from a parent. The temporary red light is totally useless as it was protecting the kids going to school. Will you promote the elimination of this traffic light? I'm not certain if who will field that question.
I'll throw my hat into that one. This is Trustee Flores. I really don't know. I mean, that's really a city issue, and for elimination of that traffic light, I'm sure there are a lot bigger issues than this school. I mean, that light probably serves the neighborhood very well, but I don't know if Margot wants to chime in on that, but I would think that that is totally the decision of the city, and we would have very little, if any, input on that.
Trustee Flores, this is Carl Crawley. I'm with Master Plan, who's the planning and zoning consultant for the district and on this school. The city has the funding and is in the process of designing that new signal for that light, much like the light in front of TJ that was destroyed in the tornado there. So that light will be replaced. It is an important part of the whole traffic system in that area. So that light should be replaced prior to the school being open, and hopefully sooner than that.
And those lights are very expensive. You would be surprised. There's a lot of engineering that goes into those lights, and I think they're replacing lights that have been around for decades with the newest technology, and they're called smart lights. And Mr. Crawley, do you have any indication if that's what the city intends to do?
That's my understanding. The light at TJ, just to sort of mirror on that one, was a light built in the 50s. I'm sure it was upgraded somewhere in there, but didn't have the technology, obviously, of the 80s, 90s, and the 2000s and the 2020s. So it will be brought up to today's standards, if not tomorrow's standards, when it's replaced. So, and those lights are very expensive. The one at TJ is over $250,000.
Right, and the one at Maryland Midway is also being replaced,
Yes.
I believe in partnership between the private school there and the city, because it's in excess, I think, of $250,000. So it's big money. This might be a good time to let the community know why I'm here. And Mr. Crowley, you can tell them a little bit about the zoning application, why in fact DISD had to file a zoning application.
Yeah, I noticed that was one of the questions that I think Jackie was going to get to. So Jackie, I'm going to spoil your question here. We are in the middle of, not in the middle, but we've started the zoning process. One of the participants asked about the R16 zoning. That's, I don't recall if that's R16 or R10 right there. It is single family. The school that was there was built in the 20s, I'll guess. Not even, it was, I believe it was the Prestonwood School District, or if not another school district. It didn't have zoning. It was all right when it was built, but in the late 80s, the city of Dallas has required zoning for public schools. So we've requested a plan development district, which means it will follow that plan that Seth showed you. It will be written for this school and no other school. We'll have things about the students arriving by bus only, the number of students and how the time of day works. So you're not there with all the students on the campus at the same time. Those things require us to write a plan development district. It doesn't have the same parking that a normal high school would have because the students aren't allowed to drive there. The parents aren't allowed to pick up their kids there. But we do have a traffic management plan that will delineate how the buses will pick up and drop off and the time of day and how the buses enter and leave the campus too. So in that sense, it will have its own zoning for its own piece of property. There will be no other piece of property in Dallas that has the same zoning as this does, just like the Thomas Jefferson campus has there too. So we're in the process of that. We hope to go to the Plan Commission in March, knock on wood. I see a smile by Vice Chairman Murphy. If not March, April, and then the City Council in May. We need to start this school sooner than soon. The district is behind on all of its construction because a lot of things are going on right now. So we need to make sure this campus is open in that spring of 23 that Seth mentioned. So hope that answered your question about the zoning.
Okay, and if I may piggyback and add a little bit to Mr. Crawley's comments, yes, I think someone gave me a raise. I'm vice chair of the City Plan Commission, not chair, so I want to make that clear. So thank you for the introduction. And so public schools are generally allowed in all residential districts in the city of Dallas by a specific use permit or by a planned development district. So the city of Dallas recognizes that state law requires that the district educate the students and so they can put the schools there. And so really the question for zoning is in terms of traffic and height and lot coverage and things of that nature. But it's a public school. It's been a public school there and it's likely to remain a public school there. Mr. Crawley is correct insofar as they are seeking a planned development district, and that is really a zoning category in and of itself, and it'll be governed by the conditions in the plan development document. And that will also include a site plan, which will be very specific as to where the building goes in the lot, where parking is, ingress, egress, etc. Additionally, there will be, in the plan development document will also specify height, lot coverage and all those things. Additionally, a traffic management plan is required. The district has described generally how the buses will work, but they will likely have to submit, and Mr. Crawley, you can correct me if I'm wrong, a traffic management plan that will outline the traffic management. And in fact, if this were to pass, it would become part of the ordinance and they would have to abide by it.
Yeah, and the difference, I guess, between this and a normal traffic, if there was a normal traffic management plan, usually we take into account how parents queue, pick up, and drop off. In this sense, it's almost a bus management plan because we're talking buses versus cars. So in that sense, it made it a little bit easier that you can manage a small number of buses a lot easier than a very large number of cars. So that's the fortunate thing here.
Yes, and if I may amplify that point, there are a good number of schools around the Midway Walnut Hill intersection. Thousands of students attend. Walnut Hill Elementary, when it operated before the tornado, had a good number of cars coming and going at peak school hour drop-off and pickup times. And in a sense, by introducing this bus method of transporting students on and off campus, that may improve the traffic pattern. It's likely to improve the traffic pattern on Midway. One last comment, and then I'll listen, is that at City Plan Commission, we like to hear from members of the public, especially the property owners adjacent to the school. So feel free to write me at Dallas City Hall. You can get my email address off Councilmember Gates's website. I can give it to you now, cpc-d13@dallascityhall.com. We like to hear what you think. For those of you who speak Spanish, I do too. You can call me, reach out to me directly, and I'd happily visit with you. And have I missed anything, Carl, that I typically say? Or Edwin, you've heard these before.
It looks like there's a couple other questions that Jackie will read that we may be back again.
Okay.
I agree. Thank you so much, Commissioner Murphy and Mr. Crowley, and of course, Trustee Flores. Number of questions coming in, which is great. Remember, if you want to ask a question, please place it in the chat room. And Ms. Murphy, you may want to place your email address in the chat room as well.
I'll do it now. Thank you.
What is the latest project from William Strange? What is the latest projected cost estimate for this project?
I can answer that. It's around $56 million, give or take a little bit.
Okay, fantastic. Now we do have a question from Facebook. So Seth, I want to ask you to go back to the pathways slide, if you will. We have Miss Jeannie Bell Switch is asking what pathways will be offered at this particular campus. And I think that's going to go to you, Ms. Director Laswell.
Yes. So we have the 6 construction area pathways that we talked about, which is, construction, welding, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, architecture, and interior design. We also offer aviation, cybersecurity, and mechatronics now, currently. When we open at the new facility, there'll be some frontline healthcare worker type positions that we'll be focused on as far as careers. So we'll be looking at emergency medical technician. We'll be looking at the patient care technician, dental assisting, EKG and phlebotomy technician. We also will offer automotive, welding, and firefighting.
Fantastic. How exciting. We have another.
May I just throw something else in? One of the things that's very important about the Career Institutes, we flew through kind of the slide that shows kind of the layout, is that we're also going to be teaching entrepreneurship here. And that's a critical component of this. I don't know if Osvaldo's on the line and he can throw some more light on this, but I think that it is essential that these students also become small business owners. As somebody who uses plumbers fairly regularly, we used to own some residential properties that needed plumbers all the time. I can tell you, I've retired 3 plumbers. So finding new young plumbers that want to have their own businesses, and HVAC folks, same thing. I've retired 2 HVAC folks. We need them, and we need those small businesses. So Osvaldo, I don't know if you wanted to throw a little bit more information on that and the details of the program.
Absolutely. We want to make sure these students, when they turn 18 years old and go out into the world, that they are 100% prepared. So not only will they have the industry certifications that are recognized, but they will also have financial literacy skills and entrepreneurship skills. They need to know how to do the budget. They need to know what the cost of what they're buying, what they're selling. So they're going to be, they're just getting the skills. They're actually getting the background on how to run your own business, how to be self-sufficient, if that's what they choose to do. They can definitely go work for a bigger industry or go on to college and pursue even a career path post college. But they'll have all the background on how to run your own business. And that's the very important part of this, because a lot of our students, they graduate, right? And then they're like, hey, what am I gonna do now? Well, our students, they'll know that they have certain pathways, and they'll know that if they're gonna start their own business, they'll have the skills for that too.
Thank you so much for answering those questions. Marla H asks, back to truancy, who do we address this issue with if and when it does occur? Please, other neighborhoods have been extremely unsuccessful with working on this issue in the past. So who do we need to, who would we contact to do that? Perhaps someone from our leadership team can answer that question.
Well, so Jean Laswell will have the final word on that campus because she is the principal of that campus. But like we said before, the students are coming by bus. No one is walking to the campus, and they're going to leave by bus. So there's no drop off. There's no cars waiting in line to drop off kids. There's no parents waiting in line to pick up kids. There's no excuse for being outside of the building. So bottom line, Ms. Laswell, who's very capable, by the way, has run the Career Institute before, has no trouble running this one.
Yes, absolutely. I would be the contact person for any students who might leave the Career Institute, although I don't see that happening. We have a very good system in place.
And also, as a follow-up to that, if you want to get contact information regarding the Career Institutes themselves, they actually have you can get the information on our website at dallasisd.org. Simply search for Career Institutes, and the contact information about all three of the institutes can be found at that location. Next question from Florence D. Is there going to be another public meeting to discuss the rezoning, and when will that, and if so, when will that be?
You probably a lot of the participants on this meeting got a postcard that I sent to you. And that postcard was sent to everybody that will also get notice for that public hearing. The zoning requires a public hearing at the City Plan Commission and the City Council. As I mentioned earlier, we're projecting for a hearing in March. The hearings at the Plan Commission are the first and third Thursdays of the month. You will get notice if you got that postcard, you'll get notice from the city about the hearing. If you did not, and you're just listening in, the city of Dallas is required to post a legal notice in the newspaper at least 10 days prior to the hearing. And then you can go to the city's webpage also. There are zoning signs that hopefully are still out there on the campus. But like I mentioned, that we're projecting a March hearing date at the Plan Commission and a April hearing date at the City Council. Hope that answered your question.
Right. And again, if you need information, that website for the City of Dallas is dallascityhall.org. Moving on, for the next question. Per the layout shown, it appears there will be a street added between the rec center and the campus. So do we have to, can we go to that slide to show that and expound upon that?
Yeah, I suppose they're talking about this on the south side. The intent
Yes.
of this is, so there's a couple of reasons. We need to have a fire loop that encompasses the entire building. That's required by code. And also that's what we're utilizing to drop off the buses. So the intention is that they would not be turning directly off of Midway. This would be intended as an exit only, and they would come down through at the light intersection and work their way through the site that way.
Thank you so much. We have a question from Florence D. that wants to know, does the community have an option, and how can they participate in the rezoning discussion?
Again, as I mentioned, there are two public hearings, one at the City Plan Commission, one at the City Council. Those hearings are much like this meeting. They're online, and you're allowed to participate in those hearings online. I don't think by March they won't not be online. So you'll have that option to participate. If you're within 500 feet of this school, you will get a letter from the city, one at the City Plan Commission, one at the City Council. And that letter is also a form for you to fill out and reply and send back. So those are your communication methods, either by mail with the reply form, by attending the hearing virtually in that case, or you can reach out to your plan commissioner, who is Vice Chairman Murphy, or the City Council member, and let them know if you have anything. Those questions are usually filtered back to us, and then we answer those ourselves. Thank you.
And I'm happy to ask DISD to host one community more meeting that is solely dedicated to the issue of zoning. Again, I have to reiterate that zoning will look at this through the lens of land use, and it's a public school, and and it's going to replace another public school, it's likely to remain a public school. And so the question is, you would have to share your concerns in terms of traffic or height. The fact that they're busing the students in means they don't need expansive parking lots. But we're happy to host, I'm happy to participate in a community meeting that is solely dedicated to the question of zoning, so that you can better understand it. And maybe at that point, Mr. Crawley can go through the site development plan in great detail. But I mean, it's just a thought. Always looking forward, always look for public input.
And I will put my email address in the chat too. So if somebody wants to look at and email me any questions you might have.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Murphy and Mr. Crowley. I'm going to combine the next two questions because they're very similar. The plan, they're from Marla H. and Florence D. The plan seems to take away all the green space, and there will likely be a loss of, they're concerned about home value by the elimination of the green space. The comment from Florence D. is the homes in the neighborhood all have minimum lot coverage requirements. The building that covers an entire lot will significantly alter the perception of the neighborhood. So if someone can address that, those two issues.
I can take a stab at that. It's a little bit of a complicated question. So in general, the program for this school is fairly significant, and we're doing our best to fit it into the site as best we can. There's a lot of fairly high volume spaces, like a firefighting lab that needs to put a fire truck in it. It needs to be fairly tall, but it is a 1-story space at that rate. As far as the footprint, the existing footprint is kind of this smaller area. Make sure you can see it. It's sort of this smaller area here, and the only area that's added is the area outside of that. And so we are redoing all the landscaping. There'll be new trees around the entire site, replacing the sidewalks. And we are further back than the required building setbacks as well. I'm not sure that fully answers the question.
So, Mr. Stevens, it might be helpful to provide an overlay so that the neighbors understand what the existing footprint is versus the proposed footprint. And I think that's what you were trying to explain using words, but it may be more helpful to explain it using it graphically.
Yeah, so I think on this image, you can see that there's almost no trees at all here. And this is the existing footprint. We've got a sort of similar view further on that shows a comparison. Sorry. So this is the existing footprint, but you'll see there's a lot more trees as a buffer between the site and the street. So there'll be a lot more greenery in general, maybe not grass, but the grass ends up turning like this brown color, like that city field.
So I guess the question I heard was lot coverage as well. So what is the percentage of lot coverage before and after? Open space before and after? That would be helpful to know. That's the kind of stuff that can be vetted at a community meeting dedicated solely to zoning. Additionally, the landscape requirements have changed over the years. They're more robust than they were in the past. So it would be interesting to see a comparison of what the landscape plan was before versus what is proposed. And that would be helpful as well. Finally, I think I've seen a question on the chat and heard something about home values adjacent properties.
That's correct.
At City Plan Commission, we are limited to discussing land use alone, and from time to time, in fact, I expect at tomorrow's hearing, there will be a question that arises with regard to property values that may result from a zoning project. And I will let you know that that we're not allowed to discuss that at City Plan Commission. We only look at appropriate land use. I know that's frustrating, but that's That's just the way it is at City Plan Commission. So I want to share.
Also, Mr. Stevens, is it correct that there will be fencing around to secure the property as well?
Yeah, we have like an ornamental fence that we're going to put on there, similar to what's down the street at the private school.
Okay.
Kind of a black iron looking fence, not a chain link fence.
Great. So another question from Margaret J. She asks, what has Dallas ISD done with the historical artifacts from Walnut Hill Elementary School? As an example, the auditorium chairs and other items.
I can't speak to all of them, but I believe all that stuff has been cleared out. The district came through and salvaged most of the stuff because there's a lot of water infiltration from the tornado damage. So they came in, I don't know, it's probably 6 months or over a year ago at this point, and pulled most of that stuff up to reutilize in other campuses that have similar equipment. Or things like that. There's certain plaques and stuff that are still in the building that we plan on reusing. I don't know if there's a specific item aside from the chairs that they had a question about, but we're intending on reusing stuff we can.
Can I just say something on that real quick?
Yes, sir.
So those same chairs, those same wood chairs are completely unavailable. It's not something that you can purchase, and those same chairs were used at WTY High School. And WTY High School now has a brand new auditorium with every single chair has been fixed. And so I think that probably a good portion of what was salvageable from the Walnut Hill site is now being used by students at WTY High School. And we saved a bunch of money doing it. So, unfortunately, we had this tornado and the circumstances, but I know that the district tries to reuse every single part of that, just because it is so rare and it's so hard to find that same material. And so we're using it.
Thank you, Trustee. From Marla H. Concerns again, neighbors who purchased their homes when Walnut Hill was an elementary school did not plan on a small elementary school being turned into a massive high school. Please understand, many of us are neighbors and experienced the tornado and are well aware of the challenges it brought our way. This will turn what was 3 schools into a population of 4. Perhaps to answer this question, if we could talk about the actual, this is not a high school size, so maybe it's a comparison of what an actual high school size would be relates to what the Career Institute would be, so we could have a better perception. And perhaps Mr. Thompson, I believe, is on the line. Mr. Thompson, could you speak to the perception is there will be 3 schools instead of 4? And I think maybe someone from the district office can speak to exactly the complexity, or Trustee Flores, about the TJ, the pre-K 8 campus that's formerly at Cary, and this particular Career Institute, how that all integrates to clear up the perception of the projects.
Back to the where the square footage of this campus is, please. Yeah. Okay, so this building is scheduled for 165,000 square feet. TJ will, when completed, will be just over about 320,000 square feet. And then the pre-K 8 elementary that sits on the same campus is just over 126,000 square feet. So that gives you a perspective. So this building is just slightly bigger than the pre-K 8 we're building to replace Cary Middle School at 165,000.
And Gene, how many students do you have at any one time? Because it's only 1/4 of the students are there at a time.
Yeah, we have 800 students we're anticipating on campus at any given time.
And there are only 3 schools, not 4, once all 3 projects are completed. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, great. So I hope that answers that question. Again, if you're joining us on Facebook, don't forget to ask your questions in the comment section on Facebook. We will share them to this group. William S. asks, why is a third floor necessary on the south side of the building? How extensively did the district explore adding the square footage on the second floor?
I can talk about that. Give me just a second to go to the view. So in general, a lot of these spaces, we can't build on top of the existing building. We don't have structural drawings of the existing building, so we can't, in good faith, do that. The area that's the firefighter lab, it also has some kitchen equipment and that sort of stuff in there. It's not ideal to put something on top of that. That also would put a second floor a little closer to these houses right here. The only 3-floor portion is really the medical area, and it does face the park and Midway, which is kind of the furthest away from anyone's backyard. I believe that sort of answers the question, but it basically comes down to program and what you can put on top of it. There's a lot of high volume spaces like the aviation lab needs room to put a plane in there. It won't be outside the building, so it needs to be fairly tall, and you don't want to put something, you don't want to put floors on top of already tall spaces, because then you get a really tall space. So that's how we ended up with this 1-3-4 area over here.
Okay. Thank you so much for responding. From Charles K., we have, our neighborhood will now have approximately 800 new high school age students, where we once had what I believe was approximately 400 highly supervised grade school students. This is a dramatic change to our neighborhood. Ms. Laswell's responded to Marla's question about dealing with probable truancy of students wandering through our alleyways and yards, as has been experienced with TJ for many years. But by essentially stating that these students want to be here and we will deal with that if it happens. That is not acceptable, and it will almost certainly happen, as it has happened in the past with TJ. What alternative plans exist to utilize the Walnut Hill campus for something other than a career institute?
So I'll take a stab at that. There are multiple career centers around the Dallas area. There's out in Plano and Rockwall, Grand Prairie, and at the centers when we've gone and visited and done our homework, the truancy problem that it has never come up. In other words, I think like Jean said, the students they're coming there on a bus, and they don't have the other classes. They have the pathways that they specifically have said, I want to be an electrician, I want to be a computer scientist. And so we will double check with the other career institutes in the area, but not one of them had. In fact, we saw the kids coming in and out of the building. We were there, and they all come in, they're dressed in if they're medical students, they're dressed in their blues, they look great. If they're other students, they have their own, different types of uniforms, depending what they were doing that day. It was orderly. We saw them come in, come out. And actually, Jean, you saw this every single day. Can you speak to that?
Yes, I helped develop and run the Dr. Jean Burton College and Career Academy in Rockwall prior to coming to Dallas ISD. And I assure you, the discipline issues at that campus are minimal, if any, compared to what they have at a high school. This will be a welcome good neighbor for you. We know how to operate the campus. We're doing it very successfully now at the temporary location, and we will continue to do so at this location. We have policies in place where students enter and exit only at one location. They are not outside the building during class time. They come straight in, go straight to class. They eat lunch, they go straight to the bus. It's very systematic, and we have a lot of supervision in the building. And I assure you, we're going to be good neighbors for you.
And Ms. Laswell, Director Laswell as well, does not this not necessarily duplicate TJ students, but TJ students have the opportunity to join into this? Can you share with us exactly which schools will be coming, be able to enroll in this particular area? And then I believe you said there was only 800 students a day. Now, is that 800 at one time, or are those divided into different times of day?
Okay, so we have two groups of students coming each day, one that comes in the morning and has class with us for 2 periods, and then has lunch, and then returns on a bus to their home campus. Then at that time, there's another group that comes in, has lunch, has 2 class periods, and then returns to their home campus. So we serve 5 campuses, and that would be Conrad High School, Hillcrest High School, North Dallas High School, Thomas Jefferson High School, and W.T. White High School. So we are serving those 5 campuses right now. Students are enjoying their time with us, and we're quite successful in helping them experience programs that they can't access on their home high school. So it's an exciting program, and we're excited to be bringing this to the district.
Okay, we're about to wrap up our meeting, but we do have a few more questions coming in. We do want to continue this conversation. However, if you visit our website at dallasisd.org and you visit the Bond 2015 meetings, there will be a form placed there tomorrow where you can continue to ask questions. Will submit those to the project team for answers and for responses as well. Again, that's dallasisd.org/Bond 2015 meetings. But let me go through with our last couple of questions here. One question is, will the bus drop-off be gated so it can be closed when the school is not open to keep people from driving through from Midway to from Midway?
I'll take that. Yeah, in general, yes. The answer to that is yes. On this image, you can kind of see the gate off to the south. There's another gate on the other side too. It is a fire lane too, so there will be a padlock on there. So the fire truck needs to get in there, they can. But the intention is that that's locked after hours.
Okay. They're asking about maintenance facilities across the school absorbed into the new school. I'm not certain what that question is. So the person who submitted that question, if you could resubmit that question on our website, we can get that answer certainly. There was the question is why this Career Institute was not being combined with the Cary campus, which is a complete rebuild. And they're just asking again about alternative plans possibly for the Walnut Hill campus. I'm not sure who would need to address that.
At this time, we don't have alternative plans for this particular site. The Career Institute North will be on this site.
Okay. And again, the campus, replacement campus for the Cary campus is a pre-K 8 campus. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. It'll be part of the overall TJ campus.
Okay, fantastic.
And it is a transformation school with a zone preference to the current Walnut Hill boundary.
Fantastic. So we are going to wrap up this meeting. We want to thank everyone for joining us today. And Trustee Flores and Ms. Laswell, if you would care to make any remarks, I remind everyone that we do need, if you have additional questions, whether you're on Facebook or joining us on the Zoom call, please visit our website at www.dallasisd.org/Bond 2015 meetings. There you will find a form that will allow you to continue to submit questions. Also, that we have 2 email addresses for specific questions to zoning that are on the chat from Mr. Crowley and from the commissioner. So Trustee Flores, if you would care to make any closing remarks along with Ms. Laswell.
Sure, absolutely. So I want to thank everybody for participating and asking, the tough questions. I want to thank the staff, of course, and especially Margot Murphy for joining us. And we'll be glad to host another community meeting with you, Margot, about the zoning issues specifically. The question was asked, what is the plan for this building? If it's not a career institute, the plan is that there is no plan, and it'll remain kind of the way it looks right now. They really will just keep on putting that blue tarp back up every time that we need it. However, our students and hopefully with our career institutes, and I know that as I say, every single community meeting I've ever been to, they've talked about the trades. And making sure that we have students that maybe don't want to go to college, that maybe want to get their associate's degree or their certifications, what's in it for what's there for them. And as Mr. Taylor from the Career Institute North just told you, says he knows what's in it for them, and he is giving them a pathway to the future and to those opportunities so they can be productive citizens in our society. And that is what the Dallas Independent School District is all about, is educating all students for success. And so I'm very grateful for everybody who participated, and I look forward to continuing the discussion on this issue and answering all those tough questions. But I'm very excited about this opportunity, and hopefully we'll be able to move forward with this project. I really appreciate everybody's time, and I'll turn it over to Ms. Laswell.
Thank you, Trustee Flores. It's been a pleasure to present this information to you tonight. And on behalf of all of our teachers and staff for Career Institute North, on behalf of all the students who participate right now in Career Institute North and our future students, we thank you. We thank you for being interested in the community and wanting the best for your community. And we thank all of our staff who have joined us and spent their time this evening, and the trustee, and as well as the city professionals. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We can't thank you enough for being here and being a part of this, and look forward to working with all of you.
And if I may jump in before we sign off, it's Commissioner Murphy. I just say that thank you to Trustee Flores, and I think a zoning meeting would be great, and we can drill down some of those questions. And if there's a possibility that I can get a list of all the attendees at this meeting, I will share with the council member's office, because she likes a record of who attended community meetings in the event we need to reach out. I have posted my email address on the chat, and please, I welcome your emails, and I will respond, and or the telephone number, I'll call you. Okay. Thank you to DISD and Trustee Flores and everyone else for attending this meeting, and stay safe.
Thank you everyone for joining us tonight, and have a wonderful evening. Goodbye.